Good day, students. You are all welcome to Cradle2Harvard online class. My name is Abu O. Jacob, your English language and literature teacher. Please, because of the functional value of this topic, I want you to run from SS1 to SS3. Is that clear? Now, I want us to briefly look at the topic, comprehension, writing. Over the years, many students have complained that they couldn't do well in their comprehension passage in WAEC or NECO. Okay? Now, this is because you can't just pick up your pen and begin to write. There are what we call guidelines to writing. Writing has format. So on that note, we are going to dwell more on what we call some useful hint to comprehension passage. Is that clear? Now, what do I expect from you as a student at the end of this topic? By the end of the lesson, you as a student should be able to, one, define comprehension, two, explain the 4 types of comprehension questions. What are some of the expected questions that WAEC or NECO or any professional examination will ask you as a student? 3, state at least 5 hints to comprehension writing. Okay? Number 4, use the given hints to answer the questions on any given passage on comprehension. Now, what is the meaning of comprehension? Let's assume a passage is given to you. You don't just dash into the passage without knowing the meaning of what it is expected of you to do. Now, when we ask you what is the meaning of comprehension, comprehension simply means what? Your ability to understand the given passage. Okay? It is when you understand a particular passage that you can be able to interpret it. If you don't understand a particular passage, there is no way you can interpret it. Is that clear? Therefore, comprehension simply means what? Your ability to understand. Is that clear? Your ability to do what? To understand. Good. Can we proceed? What are some of the types? You know, there are types of comprehension questions. There are some questions that you should expect at the end of the passage. Okay? Now we are going to look at some of the types of comprehension questions. One is questions on fact. The examiner asks some questions to test the reader's understanding of some fact presented in the passage. For example, according to the passage, what are the symptoms of coronavirus? You know, the questions will be extrapolated from the given passage. Okay? They won't ask you questions outside the passage. The questions will come from the passage. Is that clear? I just use coronavirus as a case study. But it depends on the given passage, okay? Good. Another questions on comprehension is questions on what we call deduction or inference making. What do we mean by inference? Your ability to go outside the passage. Your ability to think wide. Am I communicating? Your ability to go extra mile to interpret a particular passage. Is that clear? Now, what does this mean? The reader's ability to apply his or her own previous knowledge to the reading of the passage is also tested. For example, what do you think the writer means by saying education is like the air we breathe? Okay? The reader may also be asked to suggest a suitable title for a given passage. Now, let me lay more emphasis on this. At times, a particular passage will be given to you without a title. How do you identify a title in a passage? Or how do you give a passage a title? Now, you take note of each paragraph. From paragraph 1, you go to paragraph 2. Are you listening? Good. From paragraph 1, you go to paragraph 2. If you discover that a particular point is repeating, in paragraph 1, you discover it means the same thing in paragraph 2, like that, then you can grab your title from there. Is that clear? That is how to get a title for a particular passage. Is that clear? Now let's look at another questions on comprehension. Questions on literary terms. Questions like idioms or figure of speech. The reader is also tested on literary interpretation of some expressions. For example, what is the figure of speech used in a given example? A particular lines will be given to you for you to to identify the figure of speech. You should be able to apply it. What did I say? You should be able to apply the knowledge of literary interpretation to get the figure of speech given to that particular expression. I hope I'm communicating, and I hope you are listening very well. Good. Now, can we move further? Questions on what? Grammatical terms, or questions on what? Grammar. At times, they will ask a student, what is the grammatical name given to this expression? This is where your knowledge on grammar, grammar is very broad. Adverbial clause, noun clause, adjectival what? Phrase, gerundive phrase, and so on. We come in here. Is that clear? Questions on what? Grammar. The reader is tested on his or her knowledge of what? Grammar. For example, what is the grammatical name given to the underlined words in the passage and its function? Either its function as subject of the verb, object of the verb. It depends on what? The given extrapolated what? Lines for you to identify the grammatical name and its function. I hope I'm communicating. Good. Now we also have what we call questions on synonyms. What do we mean by what? Synonyms. Synonyms are words with what? Similar in meaning. Okay? Synonyms are words with what? Similar in meaning. So at the end of the passage, your ability to what? To give another words that are similar to the particular words used in the passage will be tested. Now let me say this. At times, a candidate will be asked to identify or to give another word that can replace the word used in the passage. Now listen, you don't just look at the meaning of those words. Those words, cross-check them with the passage. Can they go? If the meaning you were able to deduce, okay, will not match with the one used in the passage, please look for another meaning or look for another word. Is that clear? Now, the reader's knowledge of the vocabulary of language is also tested. For example, for each of the following words, find a word or phrase that means the same thing as the word and can replace it as it is used in the passage. For example, deteriorated. For example, in the passage, I think you can have deteriorated, crucial. Now, this is what you do. You don't just give them the meaning of deteriorated. If you give them the meaning of deteriorated and you cross-check it with the passage and you discover that it won't go, please look for another meaning of what? Deteriorated. Am I communicating? With that, you will do well in your WAEC, in your NECO, or any other professional examination. I hope I'm communicating. Good. Now, some useful hints on what? Comprehension writing. You can't just pick up your pen, just like what I said earlier, and begin to write. What are the guidelines? What are those things that you're supposed to know? What are those things that you're supposed to do before you pick up your pen to write, or before you pick up your pen to begin to answer a comprehension passage? Am I communicating? One of the hints or one of the guidelines is what? Have maximum concentration when reading the comprehension what? Passage. If you are reading the comprehension passage, that is not the time for you to think, oh, yesterday my mother said I should buy pizza, but I wanted to eat chicken. No, that is not the time for you to think of all those things. Am I communicating? When reading the comprehension passage, you have to give what to call 100% what? Concentration when answering or reading the comprehension passage. Is that clear? Good. Now, number 2 hint is always read a comprehension passage at least twice. One of the problems we encounter in WAEC or NECO or be it professional examination is that we just dangle into answering the questions. You don't just jump into the comprehension question and begin to answer. You have to read the passage at least 2 or 3 times. If you have enough time, please read it 2 or 3 times. Don't just read it once and begin to answer the question. Or don't just begin to answer the questions without reading the passage. I hope I'm communicating. Good. Learn to give what we call contextual meaning to words. You get that? You should be able You should be able to replace another words. There's what we call denotative meaning and connotative meaning. One has to do with the dictionary meaning, the encyclopedia meaning, and so on. While the other one has to do with the meaning you are able to deduce, the meaning you are able to extrapolate from the dictionary meaning and the Wikipedia or the encyclopedia meaning. That is what we call connotative and denotative. Am I communicating? Good. Now, number 4 hint, do not answer the comprehension passage until you have read the passage. I've laid more emphasis on that already. Okay? Number 5, always answer comprehension questions in complete sentences. Not in what? Not in fragments. Begin each answer with what? A capital letter and ends with what? A full stop. Am I communicating? If you want to write, don't begin a sentence with small letter. Just take note of this. Always begin with what? With the capital letter and ends with what? With what? A full stop. Am I communicating? One of the hints is what? Always proofread your answers and make necessary corrections. Why do you have to proofread your work? Is to what? Take note of what to call grammatical error, spelling error, and so on. Am I communicating? Do not rush to submit your questions. Sorry, your paper. Am I communicating? Do not rush to submit your paper. Always cross-check your answer. Proofread to identify, for example, where you're supposed to use comma, where you're supposed to use full stop, where you're supposed to use quotation mark, and so on. With that, you will do well in your WAEC, NECO, or any other professional examination. Hope I'm communicating. Good. I want you to do this at home for me. But before then, in our next class, I'm going to bring 2016 or 17 or 18 WAEC past question on a comprehension passage for us to see how we can apply the given hint to answer the questions. Am I communicating? But before then, I want you to do this at home for me. Mention 10 hints on comprehension writing on your own. Just look at what are those things that will make you to do well in your WAEC. What are those things that will make you to score A's? Some people believe that they can't score A's in English language. Come on. That is not possible. Okay? Writing is not an exercise in futility. You don't write in isolation. You must apply the rules. Once you are able to apply the rules, you give your parent the best result. And as a student, the only gift you can give to your parent now is to give them numbers of A's in your WAEC or NECO. Make them proud with your result. Is that clear? Please do this at home and prepare yourself that in our next class we are going to read a comprehension passage on WAEC. That is why I say this lesson should run from SS1 to SS3 because of the functional value of the topic. Is that clear? Hope you enjoyed this class. Yeah, I know you enjoyed the class. Please, if you have any question, feel free to ask me one-on-one when we have a facial interaction. Is that clear? Have a lovely day. See you in our next class.